Yo, what's up, nerds? It's MTG Man, and today I'm here to talk about the deck that is one card off from existing, a singular card. So this deck, I'm just gonna commonly call weeb shit because this deck consists only of what Scryfall considers anime art. Now, I don't really know how Scryfall quantifies what's anime art because it counts Junji Ito, which is, I mean, he's a manga artist, so I guess that I mean, Uzumaki is an anime now, but like this is anime art, and this is anime art, but also this is anime art. So Scryfall is like, what is anime art? Is a little bit all over. I know what you're saying. It's one card off. Why is it only a 90 card deck? Um, it's because that one card is forests. They haven't printed an anime art forest. But I'm going to talk about the rest of the deck so that once they do print that forest, you'll have the whole deck list. So it's a Miss Bumbleflower list, right? So that's going to give you green, white, and blue. I think that's just pretty solid colors to begin with. Let's be real here. So whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. Uh, and if this is the second time this ability is resolved, you draw two cards. So what's this deck doing? Well, it's bouncing its own shit sometimes so that you can recast creatures and get Miss Bumbleflower's second trigger or whatever. You basically just want to trigger her a handful of times. And that's like the majority of it, but this deck's actually like better than it seems. So starting off, we have Planeswalkers, the Wandering Emperor. It can just remove a creature, which is good. That's like the main reason it's here. Plus, it does some counter stuff, whatever. Narset, it stops opponents drawing more than one card, so they can only get one Miss Bumbleflower trigger. You play one spell, they draw one card. You play a second spell, they can't draw anymore. Plus, just being able to get more cards with Narset is good. And then Elspeth, it can bump up your whole board. Plus, just being able to create tokens to block with is always kind of solid. Um, Creature wise, Llanowar Elves, 4 ramp. Clement the Worrywart. So, what Clement does is whenever it or another creature enters, return up to one target creature you control with lesser mana value. So, let's say you play a 2 mana creature. You play the 2 mana creature. You get back, a 1 mana creature like Llanowar Elves. Then you play the 1 mana creature. Each of those creatures is a spell, so you'll get your Miss Bumbleflower triggers. And that's just a way to help you trigger it every turn. Azusa, Lost but Seeking. It's just a really good ramp card. Bloom Tender, it adds 3. Adding 3 is pretty good if you have, 3 different colors among, for each. Yeah, yeah, Phyrexian Metamorph, this is one of those things that you can bounce back to your hand, and let's say, you play it once, right? And it becomes a copy of a 5/5. And then your opponent plays something bigger, a 7/7. So you bounce it back to your hand somehow, and now it's a 7/7 once you replay it. We're just trying to find some cards that get value being played multiple times. Lumra, Bellow of the Woods. Um, it has a good ETB, so bouncing it isn't bad. Plus, the deck kind of wants to get out lands because it's playing Simic colors. And I think playing Simic colors has a great, easy time getting out lands. Solemn Simulacrum, a great way to find a land. Um, Karmic Guide has a really good ETB, so I thought it would just fit. Spark Double, again, you can bounce it, have it come back as something else that you want. Birds of Paradise, really good ramp. The Reality Chip is going to let you play lands and cast spells from the top of your deck, so it's like having an extra card in hand, which is good. Ao, the Dawn Sky, when it dies, you can cheat stuff in from the top of your library, or you can put counters on each permanent you control as a creature or artifact. Just thought it was pretty solid. Mirror Image, again, you can bounce it. Sure, it can only come back as something you control, but it can still be pretty good. Sanctum Prelate, you can bounce it to choose different numbers. Because, I mean, if you play it turn 3, 3 might be the best number for you to choose to stop your opponent's next 3 drop or whatever. But then you could bounce it back later and, say 5 or 10, or if you know your opponent's playing some big spell, this is your way to counter it. If they're playing Tooth and Nail, You say what is tooth and nail? Actually, I don't remember. Is it 7? Or is it's like 5 and then you pay extra? Oh, it is 7. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you say 7, so they can't play tooth and nail, things like that. Thousand Phase Shadow, partially here so that you can use the ninjutsu to bring things back to your hand. Partially here because it it does the same thing that like Mirror Image does, where it can become copies of things. Lion Sash, just good graveyard hate. Weaver of Harmony. There's a couple enchantments in this deck that you really want to be copying, so even then, it could just be that 2 drop that you bounce back and replay or whatever. The deck doesn't really play too many enchantment creatures, so that first ability isn't doing too much, but the second one can. Prime Speaker Xanathar, not Xanathar, Prime Speaker Zagana, um, enters X+1/+1 counters, where X is the greatest power among other creatures you control. When you enters, draw cards equal to its power. So, I mean, you can balance it to keep drawing cards, things like that. Tidespout Tyrant, whenever you cast a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. You could return some of your own permanents if you need to recast things. It's just pretty good all around. Um, Spectral Sailor, just another bounceable 1 drop. Tameshi Reality Architect is going to let you draw a card whenever one or more non creature permanents are returned to hand. So it's just more value for bouncing your own shit. Kellen Inquisitive Prodigy, mm, it can play another land, it can play an extra land, it can draw you cards, whatever. Malira the Living Cure, the first ability really isn't too helpful, but being able to exit or exile it, choose another creature or artifact, and when it's put into the graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. So it's like, if you have an important creature that you don't want to die to a board wipe, you can exile Malira and just save it, basically, and get extra ETBs. Emancipation Angel, it's going to bounce something to hand. I mean, it could bounce itself if you want to just, like, recast it for Bumbleflower Trigger. Um, Warlord Rogue, mostly here for the ETB. You can bounce it, get more Thopters. Thrashing Bronodon is just good removal. Elvish Rejuvenator is just good ramp. Capitech Wrecker, it can get stuff, or it can bounce something back to your hand with ninjutsu. Plus, exiling an artifact or enchantment can be really good. Skull Clamp, it could draw. You don't really have many 1/1s in the deck, but it can draw. Cloudstone Curio is going to be your other way to bounce things back to your hand. Chromatic Lantern for ramp. And I mean, I guess technically this could fix your forest problem. Um, Cold Steel Heart for ramp. Reckoner Bankbuster is ramp and kind of draw. So yeah, it's it's ramp later game. It's draw early game. Magnifying Glass is just ramp. Cyclonic Rift is a one-sided board wipe basically. Think Twice for draw. Swords to Plowshares for removal. Snap can return something to its owner's hand. Could be your own thing. You could go Snap, return one of your own creatures, play that creature again, get the Bumbleflower trigger, especially since Snap is then going to untap your lands that you played it with. Peak is just a draw card. Ram Through is removal. Flicker of Fate is just a solid flicker card to protect your shit. Valorous Stance or retrigger ETBs. Valorous Stance can give something indestructible or it can destroy something. Idyllic Tutor to get one of your solid enchantments. Farewell is removal. I mean, it's one of the best board wipes ever printed. Harmonize for drawing. Bribery, because it's fun. I like Bribery. Preordain for draw. Then we get into the enchantments. Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe, Burgeoning, Omniscience. I mean, so crazy draw, crazy ramp, pretty good ramp, and then Omniscience is just play your shit for free. So Miss Bumbleflower will probably just keep feeding your hand, and you'll just keep playing shit for free. Sure, you only get that draw trigger or the draw 2 trigger once per turn, but there's other ways to draw. Carpet of Flowers for ramp, land tax, search for lands, burgeoning plays those lands. It's pretty good. Guardian Project to draw. Um, Defense of the Heart. I just like Defense of the Heart. It's not even good in every deck, but I mean, this is something you might want to copy with the one snake. Utopia Sprawl, color fixing, slash ramp, curiosity for draw, nature's will, uh, being able to swing in and just like get all your lands untapped so you can basically restart your turn. Not like restart your turn, but you get all your lands untapped. You can just keep playing shit. Um, Colossal Majesty for draw. Colony Heart Expedition is ramp. Arrest is removal. And then lands wise, we do have Ottawara's Soaring City, Hall of the Bandit Lord, so that things you replay can have haste. Plains, islands, and then Iganja, which is removal on top of being a land. Let's be real, honestly, this deck is not terrible. Um, for just being a gimmick of playing only weeb shit. It's got a lot of solid removal. You're playing Farewell, you're playing Swords to Plowshares, you're playing Cyclonic Rift. Draw wise, you have Preordained solid, Rhystic Study, Harmonize isn't terrible. You're playing Smothering Tithe for ramp. You get Carpet of Flowers, Land Tax. There's like a lot of really strong cards in this deck. Um, it is really just once you have forests, it could be playable, honestly. Um, if we were to just throw forests in this deck that are not anime art for a second, so we're just gonna go forest. And I know I left 10 slots open. Dog, what? Yeah, I left 10 slots open, but I think it should probably be closer to this. I think. Um, okay, it should be like that. Um, Anywho, so I think we would not keep that. I think we do keep this. We're gonna say first Mulligan was friendly. Then we're gonna go. Sorry, I should have turned one. Sorry. Why the fuck am I apologizing? Fuck you. Turn one, I would have played a forest. Turn two, I would play a plains. Turn three, I'd play an island. Preordain, scry two. Um, Shit, I might keep that, honestly. Yeah, I'm keeping that. Because then we go turn four, island, Smothering Tithe, pass. Smothering Tithe is probably creating us treasure, but we're just going to pretend it did not. Um, Defense of the Heart. So if they have creatures, they're fucked because on our next turn we'll get creatures. If they're not paying for Smothering Tithe, they're fucked because we'll get treasure and then we'll probably play Omniscience. And then, I mean, either way, um, this turn we would probably use a treasure, play Narset. Well, sorry. Play Miss Bumbleflower, use two treasures, play Narset. And I mean, there's only so much they can do if we're just creating so many treasures with Smothering Tithe. Um, Honestly, the deck just kind of happened to fit around Miss Bumbleflower. Like, there just happened to be anime art cards that kind of worked with her ability. I just kind of chose her for the color. Technically, I could have gone with the five color. The Child of Alara with the Miku art is technically an anime card, according to Scryfall. I could have gone with that, but this, you know. So let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do any of these arts not count as anime art? Is Scryfall lying to me? Um, is there any cards that you think would be good fits for this deck? Do you think we'll actually ever get an anime forest? That would be a really funny ask because I know I think there's an anime mountain. I swear when looking there was I think it was a secret. Yeah, they counted this mountain as an anime mountain if I remember correctly. And then let's just check real quick. Is there an anime swamp? Probably also a secret lair. I mean, is it? It's definitely it definitely has elements of like Japanese culture, I would say, to some sense, but like I don't know if it's technically anime art. Maybe it is. And then if we go to four, sorry, secret. This one is, I guess, just not anime art. Like they just didn't count it on Scryfall, so I guess it just isn't. I guess because it's illustrated by somebody named Nicole. I don't think that really matters, honestly. Um, but I would say this is like definitely different from everything else in the deck. So who knows? That being said, this has been MTG Man. Uh, Peace, I guess. Yeah.